Welcome to the East Bracket. 2 videos away to see who our champion is. My champion, his champion. You know, we don't agree. That's okay. He's a Purdue fan. I'm a Tennessee fan. It doesn't bode well, but that's okay. This East region looks a lot of fun. I think there's going to be a lot of games in this region that break brackets for sure. But before we move on to the East, McGhee, he changed something in his West bracket. Go ahead, tell us what you did.
Yeah, at the end of the last video, I ended up going with UConn. I don't know why, but Dan Hurley, that's why. But instead, I had him going to the Elite Eight, but I made a change. I had him losing in the Sweet 16 to Maryland instead. But I still have that UConn upset over Florida. I think they can make noise in that region, and that's where they're going to make some noise. But other than that, everything else is the same.
Alrighty. Now with that said, you can already see on his screen he has Duke. I have Duke too, but that's okay. It'll be American versus Duke more than likely, and American's not good enough to upset a 1 seed like Duke that has Cooper Flag, and just a pretty good roster. Moving on to the next game. This is going to break a lot of brackets in my opinion. You have Mississippi State coming out of the gauntlet of the SEC, but then you have Baylor that has a very veteran roster coming out of the Big 12. Give me Mississippi State. They're pretty freaking even. They're even teams. It's just kind of personal preference. When you look at this, who do you like out of it? And when I look at it, I like Mississippi State out of it.
I like Baylor in this game. I think, like you said, they have more veteran players and 2 really good freshmen on the team as well. VJ Edgecombe. What was the other guy's name? Robert Wright.
Thank you. Yes. I knew it was Wright, but I couldn't think of his first name.
I like those 2, and I think Baylor moves on here. And we get Jeremy Roach facing his former team in second round.
The only way that I switch this Mississippi State game, and I could think about it before this video is over. Mississippi State has entered the bracket 3 times now in a row, and they haven't made it out of the first round, which doesn't build a lot of confidence for me. So I'll definitely think upon it. So that one could be changed by the end of the video. I'm just gonna I like looking at it, and I like what Mississippi State, like, it just rings a bell to me right here for the win. But then when you think about their history in the bracket, it's not great. So that one could be changed. This next game, Oregon Liberty, we would not be mad if you chose the 12 seed upset, right? 12 seed upset. Yikes! If you choose the 12 seed upset, we aren't upset by it. But Oregon, I think, like you said last night, they're just a team that enters the tournament and gets hot out of nowhere.
Yeah, I like Oregon in this one. I think their point guard, Shellstad, he's a very good shooter, and I think he can shoot their way to victory.
Alrighty. Next game, another upset one that we... I've been held.
And they have like a 30-year-old center too, so...
Alright. The next game, another one that we are seeing a lot of people choose the upset special on. Akron and Arizona, because Akron is a unreal team. Coming out of the MAC, a very strong shooting team. But this is kind of like the UC San Diego situation. We see a lot of people say, well, they had an unbelievable record this year. Look at the conference that they're coming from. Look at their non-con games. Not a strong schedule at all, and not strong enough for me to choose Akron over Arizona.
Yeah, I like Arizona in this one too. They still have Caleb Love, great point guard, and I think that helps them get past this game.
All right, the next game. I had 2 11 seed upsets, like I said. And when I think about all the 11 seeds, the strongest ones are UNC and VCU in my opinion. VCU is unreal. I like VCU a lot. They are a strong team in my opinion. They are D1 caliber as well in my opinion. That's starting 5 is D1 caliber. I don't know about the whole roster. And I mean by D1 caliber, yes, they're in the D1. I mean like the like power 6 type deal, you know? I really like VCU, and I know BYU is a juggernaut this year. I think this one's going to upset a lot of brackets too, but give me VCU.
I like BYU in this one. I feel like this VCU team's not as good as their past teams. So you might disagree with me on that one, but I still think BYU, they've been playing really, really good. And
I mean, what about Shulga? You know, come on now.
I don't know much about them, but I still, they've had better players in recent teams. But I like BYU in this one. They're, freaking put up 90 in almost every game. VCU, if they're the same as past teams, they're defense first, so not a great scoring offense, but which could cause trouble for BYU because that's all they are is offense. But I don't know, it's a toss-up game, but I think BYU gets it done.
Alrighty, moving on, Wisconsin, Montana. If I had to have a 14 seed upset, it would be between this and one other. Here's the problem. I don't think it's right now. After thinking about it, after pondering about it, it could change. Don't get me wrong. It could change for me in my revised version that we come out with. But I know that Montana isn't ever really that good in the tournament. Yes, I think they went undefeated in the Big Sky. They had an unreal year, but not enough to beat Wisconsin.
No. Wisconsin has John Tonje, one of the best scorers in the country, so I think. And he single-handedly beat Purdue at Purdue, so they shouldn't have any problem with Montana.
Alrighty. St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. I see a lot of people choosing Vanderbilt. Once again, their reason is because the SEC was a juggernaut. If you were winning in that conference, clearly you had a good enough team, but everyone I feel like sleeps on St. Mary's since the West Coast Conference Championship loss. You got to think about St. Mary's. They beat Gonzaga twice in the regular season. Vanderbilt, to me, is not good enough to compare to St. Mary's.
Yep, I agree.
And then we go into Alabama, Robert Morris. This is the other 15-2 upset that I could see happening. Does Alabama have any injuries right
now? It said Grant Nelson.
All right. So
to be determined, but I mean, it ain't gonna matter in this game.
I agree. I don't think one injury justifies enough for a 15 seed to upset a number 2 seed. If there were maybe one more injury and both of the players were out, I could warrant this could warrant a 15-2 upset, but just because it is only one player questionable, it doesn't give me enough justification to choose Robert Morris. Robert Morris is a very good team on the court as well. But now we move on into the second round. Duke will take over Mississippi State. There's, nothing to be said there.
I could see. I think Baylor is a better team than what their record shows.
I mean, that's how Arkansas is too. I mean, look at the roster on paper.
Earlier in the year, they beat St. John's, and St. John only has like 3 losses or 4 losses. One of them was the Baylor.
You think it's this early?
It could be, but I'm gonna go with Duke for now. But I could definitely see that happening because Baylor still has that veteran group, the same coach that won the national championship. They have Duke's former point guard, who's now in his 5th or 6th year. So he knows the Duke program. Maybe they could get him. I don't know. I could see it, but I'm going to go with Duke for now.
All right. Moving on into the second game in the second round, Oregon and Arizona. Give me Oregon. There's just not much to discuss. Well, I mean, there is quite a bit to discuss here, but in my opinion, not much. Oregon, like you said, hot team in the bracket. That's all I got to say. Put them in March Madness. They're going to do a run.
Yeah, I agree. I like Oregon. They were one of the last undefeated teams remaining during the season. Wins over Alabama and A&M. They kind of fell off in the Big Ten, but after they killed Indiana in the tournament, they kind of turned it back up, and I think they're good enough to beat Arizona.
All right. Right here, I have, believe it or not, another upset. If VCU makes it past BYU, it's going to be hard to stop them. And here's the thing, over the last 7 years on the trend of 11 seeds, and I think I said this with the North Carolina one, 6 made it to the second round and were stopped. 4 made it to the Sweet 16 and were stopped. And a total of 4 other teams made it from the Elite 8 to the Final Four. Well, one stopped in the Elite 8, 1 stopped in the Final Four, or 3 stopped in the Final Four. When we look back at trends, I have North Carolina, the 11 seed, going to the Elite 8. Usually when that happens, if we see 2 11 seeds with one going to the Elite 8 and one going to the Sweet 16, at least one makes it to the Final Four. We can see in 2018, Loyola Chicago, Final Four, Syracuse, Sweet 16. Go back to 2021, UCLA, that Dayton team, and Syracuse, UCLA Final Four, Syracuse Sweet 16. And then other than that, it's usually someone gets stopped in the second round and someone makes it to the Final Four or Sweet 16. I think there's a lot of justification behind this, putting VCU into the Sweet 16. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it in the past 7 years where an 11 makes it to the Sweet 16 and gets stopped, and then a 11 seed makes it to the Elite 8 and gets stopped. But maybe VCU can make it to the Elite 8, but I am not sure. I know that was a lot to take in right there, but I had to try and cram it in really quick.
Oh, this game's getting me too. BYU's been really hot. Wisconsin's been good, but they're not at peak performance. But Wisconsin has the better overall player out of these two teams. BYU can light it up. Wisconsin doesn't usually do too good in tournament, but that's going to change this year. I think Wisconsin makes it this Sweet 16.
Alrighty. Then we move on to the last game of the second round. I have Bama and St. Mary's. I think you did too. And I slept upon this, actually. Give me St. Mary's. I know that's crazy. I know, look at this, 1-5, 11-7, but there's usually one region in the bracket every year that kind of looks like this. I don't know. I think Mark Sears trips up in the second round. I think a lot of Alabama relies on him, and I think he comes out and has a bad game against a good defensive St. Mary's team.
It's a good point. I like that point, but I don't think St. Mary's has enough firepower on offense to keep up with it. That's my thing. I think they can stop Sears, but the offense, and he has a couple options around him, not many, 2 or 3 other ones, but I think Alabama still gets it done.
All right, then we move into the Sweet 16 where I have a 1-5 and 11-7. Give me Oregon. They're that hot team. Let's do it. 5 seed over the 1. There's years, and it feels like almost every year, that when Duke makes the tournament and they have that elite player on their team like Cooper Flagg this year, they find a way to choke.
See, I don't think Oregon is good enough to beat Duke. That's why I was considering having Baylor beat them, because I feel like Baylor has a better chance of beating Duke than Oregon. But I don't like Duke, and I don't want to see them go that far in the tournament. I just don't see Oregon beating Duke. So unless I go back and change that Baylor pick, what What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. I'll just go Duke for now. And I think, hell, either Wisconsin or Alabama beats them. But yeah, I don't want to be too chalky.
You can be. I mean, it's safer to be chalky.
Wisconsin is a streaky team at times when they're hot.
Chalked up.
Yeah. I'll stick with what I had before. I had Wisconsin beating Alabama, so okay, that's what I had before.
All right, and then I don't see VCU making it past St. Mary's. Yes, I mean, if we wanted to go on an 11 seed run, let's put it this way: if North Carolina doesn't win that first four, I will probably have VCU making this crazy run to the Elite Eight. Other than that, just for right now, because it is North Carolina that we think. VCU makes it here and gets stopped right here by the St. Mary's team. So I have kind of a weird 5-7 Elite Eight, but it tends to happen. It tends to be a weird Elite Eight out of one region every year. Tends to be. I think last year was an exception. I think a lot of 1-2s made it to the Elite Eight last year.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can do mine really quick. Honestly, no, I can't. I could see St. Mary's, a 7 seed, in the Final Four. I really could. That one's a tougher game for me. Goodness, that is tough, isn't it?
What's the analytics on
it? St. Mary's.
Is it? Sorry.
If I go based off of the analytics that are put in my phone, I can do that really quick because I've customized them to my liking.
Yeah, it would be St. Mary's. Analytically, it'd be St. Mary's.
Yeah, my phone still says St. Mary's. Let's do St. Mary's. Let's put a weird 7 seed in there. I think it could happen. I know that Oregon, like I said, is hot, and I did like Oregon last night when we filled out this for the first time. I did kind of like Oregon in my Final Four, but I don't know. St. Mary's is too strong of a team for Oregon, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think I'll have to go with Duke. As much as I don't like Duke, I don't like any of the Blue Bloods, to be honest with you. But I don't. Wisconsin, they might have Tanjay, but Duke's a deep team. I think they'll go to the Final Four in this matchup.
All right. I thought you were going to have Duke as an upset.
No, I don't see it. Unless the only one I could see would be losing the Baylor. I don't see them getting upset by Oregon or Wisconsin. So
when I look back at this, my Baylor-Mississippi State game still troubles me every time. My analytics say Baylor on here. I think on my phone it says Baylor, but only by 0.1.
I don't know, with all the analytics that we matched, that we picked, that's what I still have the same ones that we had.
Yours is Mississippi State by 1. I think I will definitely talk more upon it in the revised version. We are running this video a little longer than others, but it was a tougher region to choose. So right now, that's what I'm going to keep mine at. It become revised version. If we do one, it could change, but the only reason why we would do revised is due to the the first 4 teams and due to injuries the day before. So that's what I have. Do you agree with your bracket?
Yeah, I'm good for now.
All right, and we'll see if we do a revised one. If not, just this is what we're going to stick with, and we'll see you in the Midwest video. See ya.